Welcome back to the GAC, everyone. We are in the final round of the week for week 2 of this first 3v3 season. Things are going okay. We did really well in the first week. We're currently on a 2-loss streak right now, but that's fine. We're up against some really good opponents in our first 2 rounds, and it just does not stop. So you can probably see what we're facing here just from the top. But before we get too much into what the defensive board looks like, and that is going to be kind of the main attraction here, let's go ahead and jump to our good old spreadsheet to see where we stand in relation to this opponent. So this is our current opponent, Symphony X, and it's a doozy, guys. It's a doozy. So he's got 500 more relic levels than us. This is very similar to Emo. A little bit less than Take, who was our first opponent, but still, I mean, yeah, he's got a ton of stuff. What's that? Oh my gosh, 44 R8s, only one R9. That's kind of interesting, but we don't need to. There could be reasons for that. Anyways, basically, he's got us beaten every single way. Speed mods destroyed, like wildly destroyed. Actually, are those the most? Yeah, that's the most in the entire bracket. That's gotta be close. He's got to be within the top 100, if not the top 50 of the game for plus 25. So that's a lot. Anyways, Omicrons, he actually doesn't have that many. He has as many as us, but he has all 3 of Star Killers. So that means that he doesn't have other important ones. Like, it looks like he doesn't have Dash. Dash is, I'm kind of leaning off of Dash now. Zan, he doesn't have Zan, which is very good. And First Order TIE Pilot is also very good, but also very new. So you can't really blame anyone for not having that quite yet. Mods, 90 more plus 20s. He's got, I think that's over twice as much plus 15s. And then, yeah, all the plus 10s as well. So, full roster. Of course, he's got Ray. I don't know how you get to this point without Ray, but that's his roster for the most part. I think he did finally hit 10 million ever since things started, but that is, as we always say, GP, at least at this stage of the game, is kind of irrelevant. So, taking that down, this is the defensive setup. It's a full FU defense, guys. I kind of think he's not gonna attack, or he's gonna take his participation crystals and just get out. His last week, he went 1-2. And I think for the first 2, he just got his participation one. And then in the third one, he saw his opponent either A, wasn't going to attack, or just didn't really stand a chance. So he went ahead and took the win. But yeah, so this is it. He's got Lord Vader here, C with Maul here, Ray with the Armor Hoda lineup. That's kind of a pain in the butt. He's got SLKR, and then JMK Cat. So loaded with 5 Galactic Legends there. I've got some ideas of what we can do. We did fortunately take a lot of our own Galactic Legends on offense. Not all of them, but we should have enough to get through that bottom wall. And then, I mean, even his top wall is gross. He's got the good gas comp when we can't use C, and we definitely can't use C against that. Bam Han Chewie, JML with Jedi Knight Luke and Jolie. That's an interesting comp. I mean, JML and Jedi Knight Luke is good, but Jolie's good too. Like, they're all good. It's just, you don't really see that comp. Anyways. No Malik here, so I guess that's fine. And then, of course, you know, the Star Killer comp that is driving me crazy these past couple matches. So, I mean, he said everything. We said our typical normal, pretty much everything like this. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It's what we've been doing every single round. I didn't put a lot of thought into this one because I honestly don't think he's really going to attack. But the only Galactic Legend that we left on defense was Lord Vader. And the reason why is because Lord Vader's very limited in 3v3 to what he can beat without Maul. And I guess that might be true in 5v5 too. Like, but it would have been great. He would have totally destroyed this C team. Probably would have beaten the SLKR team as well. So I kind of would have liked to have him off on offense because I'm pretty certain we can't get the full clear of this match. But we're gonna try our best. We'll try to take this bottom wall. We're gonna try Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke versus the SLKR, and then probably have these Galactic Legends on the other 4. Maybe we 2-shot C. We'll see, but let's find out. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get to the battles now. So this is going to be a tricky one. So we have to take out, like I said, all the Galactic Legends in the bottom wall. And not only is this SLKR R8, it's 596 speed. It is wildly fast. So it almost just barely takes a turn before my armor. And honestly, I don't think it would have mattered if it did, because she just would have gotten her buff out anyway. She was obviously able to survive the AoE. We were able to get the 3 stacks of Beskar onto Jedi Knight Luke, which is very important. And even armor kind of tanks out, and this is really, really cool. Armor lands Armor Shred, sounds like a tongue twister, on SLKR, which makes him way easier to kill now, especially because you'll see here now, SLKR is taking about 3 turns for every 1 turn Jedi Knight Luke takes, which makes it really stinking hard to be able to go in and get the kill on him, or makes him really stinking hard to get the blind on him so that he can't drain our mastery. And you can see he's drained our mastery to the point where we are occasionally missing against him. Luckily, though, we got him down to just about this low enough, and I am pretty sure that the repulse can kill him. I'm slightly contemplating getting just basicing or maybe even trying to go for the blind, but he looks just so close, and with the armor shred, this should just be enough even with our mastery down. So it's just barely enough. We take it out. That's awesome. Call it a day. So that's kind of a fun trick. I've actually been hearing reports of people doing the JMK counter and losing, taking it in a tank just because the AI is actually playing it correctly and focusing down one target. So because this is so funny, our Ahsoka was faster than theirs by 5 speed, and they were using an offense set, and we had a speed set. So he's got really good mods, but just being 5 speed faster was everything we needed, because now we get to use R2 as the third. He's able to put the smoke screen onto our Kenobi, so they don't immediately annihilate someone. We get to have R2 here, and I think the stat change, my math is probably a little off here, but I think the stat change is about equal, because the enemy cat gets extra bonuses to their team because they have fewer members, but at the same time we get a little bit of a boost too for having R2 on our team. So it kind of evens out, and of course the AI has massive issues nailing down one target. As always, they put one armor shred. They pretty much, I think, used one ult or one big cat hit on each one of my characters, which is great. And again, if you have 3 characters, that's a lot more likely to happen than it would be if you had, say, 2. So things are going well here. We don't use the smoke screen because they have the high ground now, and they'll just get rid of it. And then we just blow them up. So worked really well. And this sucks. So we've taken our R9 JML versus this Rey, and she's not offense modded, mind you. She has an offense primate or in a triangle, which isn't like, it's not that bad. But apparently, like, the 25% damage increase from Hoda, it's quite a lot. Luckily we're able to get armor down almost immediately here, and we're calling in Hoda occasionally just to get our protection back. And maybe we shouldn't have been calling in Hoda because he gives turn meter and he gives them a lot of stuff. We're able to get right into damage immunity, which is really, really good beforehand. And I hold the ult here, and I know why I did this. Like, I think this turn was a good move because there really was no reason to proc it. We should have done it now. That way our cooldowns would have been decreased for the next time. But ultimately it didn't matter, because even a non-offense modded Rey at R8 with the Hoda buff was enough to just destroy us. And at this point, you're just not winning. JML is kind of dead in the water against most teams once he's alone, and especially against Rey. So really, we're going to be able to win the rest of this fight. And this does complicate things, because Rey, especially Rey with Hoda, you're not gonna burn her down with something non-GL. Like, she's a very, very good team in 3. So what we're trying to do now, the reason why we're taking this budget team versus Lord Vader, typically I would like to take in Watt here as our third, or as our second, really. But we now need Watt with C versus their Rey, because otherwise we're just not going to get that team down, and then we don't clear a single wall. So we go ahead and, again, go for the budget team here, and this is working pretty well. I think if they had Maul instead of Piet here, it would have been a lot more complicated. He very well would have been able to burn through everyone really quickly, but you can see it's not really that big of a deal. Daka's just barely surviving, but she's still healing. This, one of the other nice reasons it's really nice to have Watt in 5v5 is Daka gets to heal a little bit of protection, and that protection really counteracts a lot of the dots, because the dots have to go through that as well. So not going super great here. Daka is not looking super healthy. She ends up eating. I guess we probably could have cleansed those dots and maybe delayed things a little bit, and I really don't like this. I do not like Piet being in stealth and us being forced to go after Lord Vader here. Really, really need him to die. Luckily he does. And they've got the healing immunity on us now, and I really don't want to let him just play around with that. So we go ahead and we cleanse it. He gets his next ult, but you can tell he still has negative master right now via the triangle, or it looks like he just got rid of it. We go ahead and cleanse the healing immunity first instead of doing the poke, and the poke kills him. So kind of close, but it still works. I think that's a pretty safe assumption, as long as they don't have Maul, and maybe even under certain circumstances they do have Maul. So we go ahead and take an RC here, and of course we put the take tech, and I'm pretty I'm pretty confident in this. Our C has handled really full offensive raise, not with Hoda, but our C has handled full offense raise in 5v5, even ones that are R9. So I'm pretty, like I said, I don't think the 25% boost from what's his face is that big of a deal. So we go in here, we re-link up after her first ult, we get back mostly to full protection, but her whirlwind is doing a lot of damage. Like that was all of our protection, and this ends up being a massive pain in the butt because we don't have 5 characters to kill. C's ult doesn't get him 100% health back via health steal, which is really, really not good because as you can see, Ray is doing a lot of damage. Even her basic is enough to kill out the protection we're getting back every turn. So, and we're not gaining that much health back because she is pretty heavy character. So we get our ult, and that kind of gets our health back up and going, and we're starting to finally look okay. And then she gets her ult and just wipes us. So 2 Galactic Legends. Granted, if I had on R8C, I think that would have gone a lot better. I think it probably would have been enough in a lot of respects. Both the offense and the extra survivability would have been very nice. So I go ahead and take in JTR here. And the basic idea here is just that healing immunity doesn't allow her to get above the 50%, so she can't get back into damage immunity, and she can't also get whirlwinds. So we put that on her, and then Vet Han did a lot of work here too with the staggers. That was really nice. And so now we're low on GLs because we lost 2 GLs versus Ray, which is kind of insane, but you know, what do you expect in that regard? But yeah, coming in up against the C team, we have to use a non-GL against it, which is rough, but at the same time, we don't really have another option. So we go ahead and take in our bound, or we take in a burner team first to get rid of the link so that our Mando is able to crit and actually gain turn meter here. And then on top of that, we go ahead and bring in our bounty hunter so that we can just annihilate Malik. And this is a really weird way to 2-shot. And actually, I need to make a video about how to 2-shot GLs and 3s because I think that's something that's going to be in high demand. Yeah, obviously this is not going to 2-shot necessarily. This is going to be more of a 3-shot. So we go ahead and take in Wampa now to clean up because Wampa really doesn't have any issues with C as long as Malik is there. Even in 3v3, he does pretty all right. I was a little afraid of their set just having way too much survivability, but they don't really have a cleanse. So the dots do just eventually get to him. There's a little bit of strategy here in the sense that you need to make sure that you're going to use the basic if you ever dip into your health. But C really just does not have the damage to do that. And this is a health mod at C, like the vast majority of them are. And we kind of land healing immunity every now and then. We kind of don't. I don't think the healing immunity is 100% necessary here. We actually have a pretty common view of ours that said he doesn't even have the Zeta, and he's done it. So it's not even so much as a potency as a question. It's just that it's not that big of a deal. One of the other things that's kind of nice is we occasionally do get a counter when Deceive drops off when C uses his mass attack, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, really not that big of a deal. We're at a certain point right about now, I think we have enough offense built up to the point where we're removing like 100% of C's protection on just a basic. So he's going to go down. It'll take a minute, but he's going to go down. We do, I think right now, link up, maybe it's right now, we link up like some really clutch healing immunities so he doesn't get his protection back, and then he just dies. But we still had 2.5 minutes on the clock. I don't think that was necessarily necessary. And then we get into the back wall, and there's Maul. And so pretty much what we kind of had thought was that he's going to put his, 5 best teams after the 10 best teams he has in the front wall and the back. And that's true. His back wall is pretty loaded. I think it had things like CLS and Maul. I don't remember all the rest of the teams, but we'll see him because we're pretty much had to commit to the back wall. But yeah, this is really fun. So Maul doesn't really have what it takes to beat Nest in 3v3. I think there probably is some I think maybe Candy Django would work because then you have the tenacity down and healing immunity. So that could be problematic. Or even, I think even Candace and Bo, because Bo has days unless she doesn't use it against characters that don't have buffs and are single targets. So that may be an issue. But yeah, I mean, Maul really just eats it here. I mean, 5 stacks of English or not, it's really... Nest, in a way, kind of has like an anti-Maul kit, because for Maul to get to his big damage, he has to make multiple hits, and by your, 5th hit on Nest or whatever, she doesn't care how big the hit is, so really solid one. I think that'll work against any of those teams like Watt or Droidica that just go for the speed. Now, this match was really fun. So, this is not our first time going up against this comp here, but this is our first time using this specific Vader, Gideon, Thrawn. And I don't think the lead is super important here. I think you could probably use Thrawn lead too. Maybe Vader lead is better because they don't really have any debuffs. And that's really what Thrawn wants. So we're analyzing the battle here right in the beginning. And I think what I want to do is I just want to clear the foresight. And we're not going to take away their protection, so Mace won't get his taunt. And we just basic Mace here. We maybe should use Armor Shred, not sure. Fracture their Jedi Anakin. That's very, very important. And now we can go ahead and ability block everyone. We almost kill Qui-Gon on that. And this sucks. Mace counters any ability blocks us, so now we can't use our AoE to kill Qui-Gon. That's really annoying. Had I gone back and played this differently, I probably would use a different ability. But we get Qui-Gon down, so that within itself is kind of a win. Like that's not what we want. We want Anakin to be dead in the first battle, but sometimes it's what we can get, and we majorly misplayed there. We had a huge opportunity to stun Jedi Anakin, and we chose not to. So went ahead and fractured Mace just so he would stop being a pain in the butt, and cold Jedi Anakin next week. This is actually the first time we beat Qui-Gon Jinn in a one-shot without using a Galactic Legend in 3v3, at least since he got his Omicron, so that was cool. I really think Thrawn has Jedi Anakin's, or Qui-Gon Jinn's rather, its number in 3v3. I think pretty much any counter involving him should be fine. So we go against the CLS, and it's modded okay. It only has 2 Zeta. It's another Learn Control Zeta, which is interesting. And we only get the double tap there with Dark instead rather than the triple tap. So we were not able to kill CLS right away, and he gets to counter, which actually really sucks because he takes down all of our Dark stacks. We don't land the days either on Nubaka, so that's a bummer. And then we don't have the Zeta for Dark, which I think I'm going to have to add that to my long list of Zetas right now. So we weren't able to get a stack back. I think that might have helped. But at the same time, yeah, then Nubaka just comes in and wrecks everyone. And now we have Super Piet, which this is still kind of annoying because we missed the crit, so he survives, and then we get blinded, and then we just die. So that kind of sucked, that battle right there, but it is what it is. And then we just taken Dooku, Boggle, and Sunfac. Dooku can't survive 2 basics, so he just dies, which is, awesome. And then Dooku kills off Nubaka, so that's great. So for their Bastila, they have a pretty decent Bastila team here with Cam and Barris, which I actually really like this team. I think it's got some pretty good synergy. And I really didn't have a lot left, so I'm like, all right, let's try the mirror. Let's assume they're going to be smarter than we are, or we're going to be smarter than they are. We go right after their Cam. I think going against Barris is pointless. And this is kind of funny. We use Old Ben's basic ability, thinking they're going to resist everything and we're just going to get turn meter. But because he had battle meditation and potency up, just completely bypassed all their tenacity. So that was really cool. Going in on Cam here, and this does kind of suck a little bit because he's got battle meditation, so he keeps countering. But at the same time, we're able to take away his protection up, which is really good. We do get some hits on Barris just so I don't get countered by Cam and die. Doesn't have battle meditation anymore, so we can start to get some hits on him. We do want to be careful a little bit with our hits, and we timed things really badly with the buff situation with Yoda. Like, I'm pretty sure there are multiple moments in here where we could have been stealing buffs and spreading them, and instead of that, we're choosing to do other things. But we got the kill on Cam, and that was really all that mattered. Now I just have to work our way down from these two. And for some reason, I really should have looked at how she was modded beforehand. But this Barris has 150,000 health, which with the bonus protection is a whole lot. So we go after Barris first. Don't really know why. I think the idea was to make Bastila easier to kill. But we start to eventually get into her health here, and we're noticing that our basics are barely, even from Grandmaster Yoda, are barely doing any damage. She's able to recover more, which that's not good. And then on top of that, every once in a while, Bastila is calling in her to assist in healing. So I'm like, okay, we're probably just not going to get her down. So yeah, we get really, really close, and then she heals. And I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. We're going to time out on this. So I really wish I would have thought of this sooner, but I didn't. We just swapped to Bastila, and because we were running low on time, we just hit auto. So they don't really have enough offense to kill us without their damage or without Cam there. So Bastila does put up a little bit of a fight, but she had much less max health than their Barris did. And then once it's down to just their Barris, she can't be healed by Bastila or be given buffs or anything. So these two eventually just take her out. So that worked really well. Took a minute, but it worked. Then he put down this weird, like, Padme Bad Batch team. I think he was kind of out of, like, he didn't really remember what team was the best 15th team, so this team got put down. And I mean, this is just fine. Even Traya at Gear 12 does just fine because this team has no way to build any type of courage if Padme is isolated. So it's just, I mean, it's just Wrecker and Echo doing things. And I mean, half of their kits are thrown out the window the second you decide not to use Hunter lead. So they can't do too much. And our Gear 12 Scion does take a bit of a beating here, but luckily with Traya's lead, we're able to heal him just enough. And I mean, they split their hits trying to kill Nihilus at certain times too. It's just not enough. Yeah, Scion gets back to full health. And then once we get our Annihilate, we just take out Wrecker. Don't want to have to deal with him. And I think from here, we just kind of, oh, maybe we wait another turn to press auto, but we can pretty much just press auto on this as well. They don't have enough damage without courage to do anything. And with Isolate on Padme, they're not getting any. So Gear 12 or not, Traya definitely does the job here. They get through him pretty easily. It's not the strenuous of a battle. Yeah, I think at this point we just pressed auto, so you can see how challenging it was. And I think we're actually even able to get through Echo without having to use an Annihilate, which is kind of nice. I think we just damage him down. He's not exactly the tankiest character in the world, and also not having the rest of his Bad Batch friends to help heal him up and stuff, that also helps. The AI also, no, I think the AI does, on auto, does use Nihilus's AoE. Because sometimes they don't, or at least the actual AI doesn't. So we win that battle. That went super well. And then we go up to the top wall, and this is purely for science. This is purely just to play around to see if this has any legs, to see if this does any good. We go ahead and take in Huck's lead with First Order Type Out with the Omicron and Lobster just to see what they can do. Because Huck's, this team in general kind of know, but Huck's lead has a lot of anti-gas things in it. He doesn't permit counters. And then when he has advantage, he also doesn't prevent TM. However, both of those are both really conditional. And ultimately, not being able to crit out a turn really sucks for Lobster. It really sucks. So they just don't, without being able to do that, they do not have enough damage. They have enough damage to get gas down in general, but they don't have enough damage to get the clones down once gas is actually down. So that's kind of a bummer. I think this team does have more potential in 5s. I think maybe with possibly Phasma lead, honestly, to stop the crits so they can increase your cooldowns. And then maybe Huck's in there and maybe Crew to actually get advantage back. Because one of the other issues in this fight, we didn't have a lot of advantage. So that was a pretty big flop. Didn't enjoy that too much. But at the same time, it was just for practice. Then I just wanted to confirm this last suspicion here that our Padme team would do just fine versus this whatchamacallit, Han, Chewie, Bam. Because I've used this Padme comp versus CLS comps with Han and Chewie, and it always did just fine. I was pretty sure it would do fine here, and it does. I think Padme, at least in 3s, really does have CLS's number overall. So once again, with it being the last day, I'm getting to this recording a little late, so we were not able to, I don't have the, actually I guess I can show you guys, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I don't have the actual battle, it's not here, but we did win it, and my original suspicion of our opponent just taking the month off, it was true. He, at some point in the day, I don't remember when, he took in Wampa, beat our Iden for 68, called a day, and exited out. So we did win that one. Debatable as to whether we deserved it, but we can definitely say without a doubt that our opponent didn't deserve the win, but that's fine. He can take the week off. I don't have any issues with that, but that is going to be it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed everything. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.